Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Town of Eastchester Architectural Review Board meeting for January 7, 2021. Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to our meeting. If you would, Margaret, do a roll call.
Sure. Laura Raffiani.
Present.
Carlos Garcia-Bow.
Here.
Sylvia Luca.
Here.
Jennifer Nemesek.
Here.
And Enda McIntyre.
Here.
Okay, everyone's present.
Start off the new year with a full board. Great. No Pledge of Allegiance.
No.
Although I feel like tonight we should do that.
I know.
The approval of the minutes. We have minutes from June 4th, July 7th, September 3rd, and October 1st that are still outstanding. Does anyone have any comments about any of those minutes?
Yeah, I'm okay.
So then, Margaret, do I need to make motions for them separately, or?
Oh, no, do them all together. That's fine.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 4th, 2020, July 7, 2020, September 3rd, 2020, and October 1, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All righty. So this evening we have all new business, and our first application tonight is 20-39, 109 North Road. Good evening. If you could unmute, please.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay, so I am going to share my screen. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle DeVito. I am the architect for Mr. and Mrs. DeBona, who reside at 109 North Road. Tonight is my first night presenting in front of you guys, so I will go through the slides that I prepared kind of quickly, and then leave any questions that you guys have. I can answer those for you. So just to kind of give a little history, this is the existing home. It's in a R5 zoning district, and the residents are a young family. And some of the goals that they had was to open up the first floor plan. The house has 4 bedrooms, 2 on the first floor and 2 on the second floor. We really wanted to get all those bedrooms up on the second floor together, or at least 3 of them, so that they could get their children upstairs with them. They wanted to make some improvements to the master. There was only 1 bathroom on the second floor, so they wanted to get a master suite and some storage. They also wanted to get a 2-car garage, improve some of their outdoor living spaces, and just overall upgrade the exterior materials, siding, and roofing. So I've, just pulled up some of the sheets that you are already familiar with that we submitted. That's just our title sheet. So here, just from a site plan perspective, our proposal is in compliance with the R5 zoning district. So we meet all the setbacks, the impervious, and the FAR requirements. And so this just gives a small glimpse as to where we're actually enlarging the footprint. There are some deck spaces too, but this is the actual footprint of the house. And just for reference, these were just some diagrammatics of the existing floor plans, just so you guys could get a sense of kind of how the first floor was pretty disjointed, and some of the things we wanted to clean up. Here's just kind of our transition, and then here are the proposed floor plans, both kind of showing the improvements to the house and then also the outdoor space. So, it's pretty straightforward. Our main goal was to really open up this family space for them, get their kitchen and their TV area as one space, and then get them also some mudroom, some storage space so that they can organize, and just kind of improve the dining and the flow from the kitchen to the dining, with also some storage here for them, and a butler's kind of space or some service space. And then we also have a powder room down here. And then up on the second floor, the major improvement up here is at that front dormer. We wanted to get an improved master suite. So, we studied some options, but we really thought this was the best way to get, the client's goals. And we were able to get in a modest master suite and improve some of the storage. And again, kind of get the 3 bedrooms up on the second floor so they can all be up there together. So I'm going to this was just some studies that we did of the interior so that you could see some of the concepts that we were trying to, open up in here. And then also get some nice open sliders out to the backyard as well, and a little bit of the mudroom space. And so here in the elevations, we just kind of wanted to set up the existing massing next to the proposed, so that you could kind of get a sense of what was there from a scale perspective and, what we're proposing. This is the front here. We are going with the front gable for the master suite. We've got a small, just a porch just to kind of decorate the front entrance a bit. We are proposing to enlarge the garage and put in a beautiful garage door. And then also we thought putting in a shed dormer up here to kind of break up that larger roof line would be nice. And then here, this is on the side. I'm just going to kind of go down to this one where we kind of highlight what the actual massing changes are. So we're not really proposing any change in the ridge line at all, or much change to the massing at the front. While the dormer is new, it's still in line with the massing of the house from the front. And then here is that enlargement. And then we did the same for the side. So that's kind of that large dormer. And then here in the back, this is in-house, but this is a covered deck at the rear. And then kind of moving around, just again at the rear and the other side, sorry about that. Again, the rear massing is very similar, and the side. So just kind of going, does anyone have any questions about the elevations?
I don't have any.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. So then kind of just going to, studying the neighborhood a little bit. So here's, the existing front and rear. And then we wanted to, of course, take a look at the adjacent houses. Specifically, this is the one on the left. This is the one on the right. While it faces towards the other street, this is what it looks like to the right of our house. And then these are the 3 homes across the street. So, just kind of getting into some of the materials and the palette. This is an artistic rendering. We wanted to, really have a nice, clean, and timeless palette. Upgrading all of the materials on the exterior of the house with James Hardy exterior siding, timberline architectural shingle roof. And then we really wanted to highlight the front door and some of the wood components with like a beautiful rich wood walnut stain. And then all the trim would be clean white. And then in the rear, around the deck, kind of just a minimalist white post and cable rail. And then again, just these were kind of expanding a little bit more outside of just those few houses. We really wanted to get a sense of the neighborhood. And, I think that this collage kind of shows that there's a variety of home styles. In the neighborhood, there's not one style that really dominates. Many of the homes are two-story, and many of them have gable elements kind of integrated on the front of the home. And so just, kind of to wrap up, we're super excited about this. We're compliant with all of the zoning regulations. We've really been able to achieve the client's goals. We were able to be respectful to the existing massing of the front and the ridge height, and kind of, be mindful of the massings of the neighborhood. We think we've got some beautiful, building components and materials that are going to really improve. And then again, kind of just a clean and timeless palette that we think, will stand the test of time. So this is just a larger of the front, and then just a larger of the rear. And I think, that's pretty much it. So I'm happy to go to any specific pages or any.
Okay. I see a couple of questions just on the porches, the front and then that side rear porch don't seem to have any railings or anything. Is that?
Yeah, so because the deck is lower than 30 inches off of the ground, it's not required to have a rail. And the thought was that, we're really looking to keep it nice and clean.
Well, will there be any kind of landscaping there, or?
Yes, we definitely will landscape. We haven't done a landscape plan yet, but there's currently some bushes, but we would want to keep it clean, and not overtaking the house too much.
Okay, it just looks like an accident waiting to happen to me, the way it is now. It just like kind of, it just looks dangerous, and like no handrail whatsoever on the stairs. Margaret, is that code-wise, that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Am I the only one that sees it?
If I could just interject 1 minute, it just looks, because there's a gap between the finished, between the ground and the finished level of the deck in the front, it needs some kind of finishing, either shrubs that are low or some kind of lattice. It just looks unfinished to have that gap between the grass area and the porch.
So
me,
we'd be
anyway.
happy to enclose that. Probably not with a lattice, because we're looking for something a little bit cleaner and more contemporary, but we certainly could put a board. There's not much space there, but we could close that gap with, with a rim board.
And is there going to be any kind of lighting?
So we would have sconces at the front door and on each side of the garage door, and then also some ceiling recessed fixtures in the porch. So it would shine, down nicely on the front there.
Can you go back to the rear porch, not the deck, but the little side rear porch? Yeah, that one, I mean, to me, again, it just looks so dangerous. And that porch, it doesn't seem like, you're going for a look. It's more utilitarian.
Yeah, I mean, on the rear, I'm not opposed to putting the rail, especially since we did put it around the deck. And even though that is also under the 30 inches, we did put it around the deck so that, when you put furniture and you're on the deck, you have that sense, of security around you.
Yeah. I think that at least that rear one should have the same kind of a feeling. This should be just, and I don't know, even on going down those 3 steps on both of those in the rear, a handrail would not be.
Yes. Yeah. Certainly where we have the rail, the rendering just isn't quite showing that, but where this would certainly continue down the stair, and we're not opposed to doing that rail around this small porch either.
Okay.
Besides the comments about all the rails, I think I like the whole focus of the house, the way it was done in the front and the back. I think it's really it's really clear. Can you go back to the front for me, please?
Sure.
Yeah, I like the front fact that you have that open deck, which is I like, and you did a good job with this. I like it.
Thank you very much. We worked hard on it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a very well conceived, very well executed. The presentation from the drawings, from the sort of mood board to the perspective interior views. I think it's a very well put together presentation. So I would certainly commend you on the application. Regarding the railings and my colleagues' comments, I'm okay with it at the front in terms of being an open rail. I think you are below the sort of 30-inch threshold there, and I think putting railings I would agree with you, would almost sort of corral that walkway or that overhang. It's really not a sort of that deep of a porch, so I would agree leaving it open is more towards the aesthetic you're looking for. I think on the back, I think you're right at the 30-inch. If those risers are maybe 7 inches, you're kind of right at the threshold. I think maybe putting a rail around maybe 1 or 2 sides and up one side of the steps, I think wouldn't detract too much from what's going on at the back of the house, and I think would probably make it a little more of a safe passage for anybody sort of entering or exiting the home. But again, I would agree with my colleagues. I think it's a really, really nice presentation. The design, I think, is really befitting with the neighborhood. There's a lot of nice homes in the neighborhood, and I think this can only enhance the neighborhood as an addition.
Great.
I agree. And also, I had one other question. The windows, are they all I don't know if I missed the presentation. Did when you went over the materials, were windows included in that, or did I?
So there are a few windows on the front. This one front window, we think we can save it, but ultimately most of the windows will be new because the way that the program is moving on the inside. And then also at the rear, we'll be introducing a triple slider out onto the deck.
Okay. And that was part of the mood board, right? That the slider, or
Yes, exactly. I
Okay.
can.
Now, all your gutters and leaders are, I was looking for that.
So the gutters and leaders will all be aluminum, painted white to kind of disappear with the trim work.
they don't seem to appear there. Perhaps you can add them to the elevations for your presentation to the ARB.
No, I was talking to Mommy. I was going to do I'll stand on one leg.
Did you hear that
Yes,
comment? I'm sorry.
sure. Yes, we can do that.
All righty. And I do love the front door. That's a beautiful door. It makes such a statement.
Yeah, we think so. We think it's really inviting. And so, we kind of chose a few of the elements to really take to the next level so that they would be special.
I do the door personally because it's looked like my door.
You're tired of it?
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, maybe just open it up to any members of the public who are watching. I guess we got to do that as due process.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to open application 20-39 to the public.
Second,
Oh, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Margaret, is there anyone there?
Yeah, no one has raised their hands, but I do have a question about, and I believe the answer to this is yes. Since you're increasing the building footprint, you are putting dry well facilities in, correct?
We are, yes.
Okay, so that is a requirement that you put dry wells in to accommodate the increase in impervious surfaces, and you're aware of that and you're doing it, correct?
We are, and we just for the record, we are showing that on our site plan as well, and showing the calculations.
Okay, and because stormwater management is such a big issue in town, I just want people that are concerned about that to know we do have a plan reviewer that's an architect that reviews that. We also have a civil engineer that reviews the stormwater management plans, so.
All right.
And then otherwise, I don't see anybody that, you might want to see if anyone else has any comments, but I'm not seeing anyone here.
Any comments from the rest of the board?
I'm all good.
All good? All righty, so then I'm going to close the public hearing.
Close the
20-39, 109 North Road.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, so I think you should move. I think you should both do
Oops, sorry, I keep on forgetting to hit my space bar. Now I'd like to make a motion to move application 20-39 along to the planning board with a recommendation for approval, with also the comments noting that adding some railings to that back porch area and including the gutters and downspouts and on the drawings on the elevations, please, for the planning board.
And to also close the gap on the front porch for the front elevation between the
Yes.
ground and the deck area.
Thank you, Margaret.
Okay.
second
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Very good. Well, thank you very
Congratulations.
much for your lovely
Good
presentation.
luck. Good
And
job.
Good luck with your new home.
Good job with the design.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated. Thank you.
All right, so next up we have application number 20-40 for 60 Lockwood Road.
Okay, all righty. Good evening, board members. My name is Adamo Majorano from Community Design. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yeah, okay. Adamo Majorano from Community Designs and Engineering. On behalf of the applicant, Luigi Rogliano, we are proposing a new single-family dwelling at 60 Lockwood Road. The existing lot, it's a vacant lot. There's no real existing mature trees on the lot. It's only some shrubs along the middle that will be removed, and we will be proposing our new single-family dwelling. I'm going to share my screen. Whoop. Sorry. Okay, so the project is situated in the R5 zoning district. The lot is a little bit oversized. It's around 5,300 square feet. We did offset the house in from what the required minimum setbacks are. In an R5 zone, it's 8 and 9 feet. One side we're about 11 feet, and the other side we're around 8.5 feet. We're situating the driveway on the left side. There'll be a new proposed curb cut, and concrete platform to get into the driveway. All of the proposed new, obviously that's an existing vacant lot, so all the new impervious areas will be captured on site with stormwater management. We did do deep hole tests and percolation tests with the town consulting engineer that witnessed it, and our calculations are based on those tests in order to facilitate the new impervious surfaces, which is basically all of what we're adding to the site. In regards to overall design, yeah, the garage, it's a single car garage. It's on the left-hand side, accommodating the new driveway and curb cut. Open floor plan on the first floor, bedrooms on the second floor.
Excuse me, do we have you the right,
Sure.
the background? I don't think we have your screen up.
Adamo, you have a different home up.
It's a beautiful home, but I don't think it's this one.
Oh, wow.
Three-car garage.
81
No.
Pleasant?
It should, sorry, can you see the site plan right now?
No,
What the heck is going on?
it's 81.
Sorry, hold up. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share screen. What the heck?
That one was really nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
very nice.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
no,
it
that's not the way. This is it. Okay. You can see the site plan.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. So yes, that's a much different. The house is a small, this is a single family home around 2,300 square feet. Again, trying to scale it within the context of the neighborhood. Basically what we essentially tried to do overall was take design elements and materials from basically the neighboring home to the right and left, as you could see in the streetscape. And we took those features to put into our home, basically scaling and making it, a mixture of those two homes put together, so it'll sit well in the context of obviously the neighborhood, but mainly the homes adjacent to our new residents. As far as materials throughout the elevations, there'll be hardy plank siding. It's a white siding throughout, lap siding. The windows are Anderson 400 series simulated divided light. The dividers are 4/1 pattern. Garage door, the brick veneer on the front. It's a Castle Gate. I'll get to the moon board, but basically that's what the Castle Gate brick veneer, what it looks like. The roof is asphalt architectural shingle roof. It's a charcoal color, black composite shutters. As far as lighting, sconce lighting by the front door, a barn style light on the garage door, and then same on the rear door in the back. There's a sidewall light as well. All of the trim and the fascia board is a white AZAC trim board and fascia molding along the soffits, brick veneer on the chimney in the back. think that's mainly it. As far as the neighboring, again, the streetscape, this is 58 Lockwood is to the right, and where is it? 62 Lockwood is to the left. We're basically in the middle of it. This is the existing pictures of the site. Again, you can see it's sort of an open lot. There are some landscaping along the middle. That's where the house will go. We do have a landscape plan prepared by landscape architect Bob Tramontano, which is attached in the packet. I could get to that, but yeah, there'll be new landscaping along the front of the house and rear, and I think they're trying to salvage one of the mature hollies as well, because there are some nice flowering planting, on the site that exists. It's a material board. So yeah, again, white hardy plank siding, asphalt shingle roof, the picture of what the trim pretty much looks like, the brick veneer, and then there is this is an idea of so the lot is a fairly level lot. I think it slopes about 3.5 to 4 feet from the front to the back. So the owner's trying to get somewhat of more of a level back yard and side yard. So there is like pretty much just a 2 foot high, I call it a retaining wall, but along the left side of the property, there's an interlocking wall, as we show on that palette, that will try to level off the property a little bit. And that's sort of a kind of picture of it there. Again, it's a very shallow. Towards the back, it goes to about 1 foot. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I actually just site plan stuff. Our condensers are located on the right-hand side, and they'll be screened as well with evergreen planting. Okay, any questions?
Yes, I have a question about the chimney. If you could scroll that page down just a little bit. Yeah.
Sure. So there's a fireplace on the first floor, and then obviously it's in the
Laura,
rear yard.
You're muted, Laura.
Oops, sorry. It seems that, I don't know, I'm sure there's a code or whatever, but it seems that all the other chimneys are above all the other roof lines. And
Yeah,
this
so
one is not?
Sure. Yeah, so we basically, from the roof, we have to be 2 feet, 10 feet away from the roof, 2 feet higher than it. So actually,
Yeah, there's the sketch right there.
Yeah, so that's essentially by code what the exhaust of the chimney has to be at. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily go, because the way the pitch of the roof, it doesn't extend over the ridge. Kind of almost don't maybe want it to. So in the front, I mean, probably will never be able to see it, but from the front, you don't see this chimney kind of sticking out. And so the side, sometimes it's a little different situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have a comment regarding the front elevation. I just think, while I'm an advocate of shutters for the most part, I just think that the addition of these 6 shutters on this front elevation, I think they kind of create the illusion of the windows being very close to the edge of the home, and I think it almost looks like we're looking to to include too much on the front elevation. I would like to possibly see, and again, I don't know whether any of my colleagues would sort of weigh in or sort of agree or disagree, but I would like to possibly see the elevation without these shutters, because I'm not sure that they do, they really add a tremendous amount other than, sort of a cosmetic, sort of addition to, the elevation as it is. It just looks like that, it's pushing the, the windows, or what looks like the windows, inclusive of the shutters, very close
Sure.
to the edge of the house. And I think it's kind of detracting from, the home as I see it.
I agree. And now that you mention it, I think that it would probably look better without it, because it's not a huge home.
Right.
And,
Yeah, no. It's not,
agree-
yeah, we
I
can
agree also.
definitely look at that.
Like I understand that you're looking to try and blend the home on the left with
There
the
you
home
go.
on the right, and I think that was probably the reasoning in why you possibly did that. But I don't
Ex-
necessarily think that, you know, that the addition of these, you know, 6 shutters really brings any sort of added aesthetic, you know, to the elevation. I think it would be adequate to sort of, you know, to look at the home without, you know, without these. It's kind of, it's a little kind of too much makeup, you know, where I don't think it necessarily needs that.
Got it.
Wait,
I was thinking the exact same word, too much
Okay.
makeup, but too much
All right.
phrase. Yeah, but otherwise it's a cute home. It's,
Mhm.
and it kind of just doesn't even need that extra makeup.
Right.
I agree with my colleague about the whole thing. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
So, oh, sorry. There's that.
It's
Sorry.
wicked.
There's
It's
one.
wicked.
One left.
Yeah, I have to
Oh,
delete
so
that
funny.
one, but just to get a quick idea of what it would
Yeah,
be
I
like
think that's
minus.
It looks
I think-
much better without it.
much better.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Thumbs up.
Obviously, like you said, that the big goal was okay. I kind of looked at the neighboring houses and we were like, okay, let's take this
I
element,
like
take
the
that
I
element, but.
like the eye-brown entranceway, which I really like that.
Yeah, so that the house
I
to the
like
left has
that.
that like brick arch.
Mhm.
So we said, okay, let's look at maybe a little archway into the entry and mingle those two.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Okay.
All righty. So, if you're all ready, board, I can open it up for a public hearing. Everybody? We good with that?
Second.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'd like to open up application 20-40 for 60 Lockwood Road for a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
All righty.
Okay.
Margaret, is there anyone here?
Yeah, if anyone wanted to participate, they would raise their hand, and nobody's doing that, so it doesn't seem that anyone has any comments.
Okay. So then if there's no one from the neighborhood interested in commenting, I'm going to make a motion to close application 20-40 for a public hearing.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All righty. And then I think that are there any more comments from the board regarding?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that on the landscape plan, there's a couple of, I think they're just typos, but there's a few plants that are listed on the plan that are not listed in the plant list, and just to clean that up. And you have on the plan 3 APW, they're shrubs, they're not in the plant list, and 5 IGB, they're not in the plant list. So just those couple of things.
Okay. I will, make note of that. I'm sorry. I think the landscape plan should be up.
So
but-
they're in the
okay.
front of the
Got it.
house, and it says 3 APW, APW is not in the
APW.
list,
Okay, APW.
and the 5 IGB are not in the plant list. It's probably like a typo either in the list or on the plan.
Okay, perfect.
And on the site plan, did you indicate all your, because it's new, the air conditioning and all that stuff?
Yeah, as I meant, yeah. So it's on the right. Actually, if you
Right
in the
there.
landscape plan here, yeah, it's right on the
Okay.
right side, right by the area way going down to the steps. No, steps to the basement.
All righty. And you gave us the lighting, so I think we're all questions answered, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you have the dry wells indicated on the site plan.
Yeah, of course, yeah. We submitted to Kelly Sessions as well, the whole engineering set. But yeah,
Right.
they're in the front and back. Drywall's in the front and drywall's in
Right.
the rear. So you can't right now. You can't see. Do you see the landscape plan and not?
Yeah.
The, oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought whatever's up on my screen you could see. That's funny. Okay.
No, I can see it.
Oh, no, just the landscape plan,
Yeah,
not
just
the
the
floor plan.
Just the landscape.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that's good to know.
Now we're back to,
Now, me and that, okay, so yeah, site plan, front and back,
Right.
those little
Right.
gray squares are the dry walls, and
Right.
collecting portion of the front in the driveway in the front and the rear portion in the rear.
Okay, anything else? Are we ready to move this on?
I think so.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to move application 20-40 along to the planning board with a recommendation for approval with the removal of the shutters on the front of the house as presented in the
Okay.
second iteration. And Margaret, was there anything else that we?
The corrections to the landscape plan to make sure the plan is consistent with the plant list. And Adamo, I
Yes.
think, not that anyone asked me, but I think it looks much better without the shutters. It's amazing.
Okay. All right,
A
thanks.
simple thing to take
No,
away.
yeah. Sometimes, yeah, of course, you have more eyes on it. You see things, oh, let me delete it. And then it does look, it does. It doesn't clutter it as much.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that you were
real
able to do
time.
that on the fly.
Quick,
Yeah.
sure.
So much help,
Definitely.
so helpful, so helpful.
Yeah, listen, you do good work, so keep it up.
All right, thanks.
All righty, so I'd like to make a motion to approve application 20-40 and move it along to the planning board. Anyone second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. All righty, thank you, Adamo.
Alrighty. Oh,
Happy New Year.
I'm
And
on
he's
the
back for
next
the
one, but
next
yes,
one.
I'm back for the next one, but thank you.
Whoa.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yes, you have a couple of applications tonight.
Yes.
So the next application up on the agenda is 20-41, One Wendover Road.
Okay. All right. Good evening again. Don Myrano from Community Designs and Engineering. On behalf of the applicant and owner, Liz Viguero, we are proposing a rear addition to a single-family dwelling at One Wendover Road. Basically, in a nutshell, the applicant recently had a new family member, another child, so they have 3 kids and they're in dire need of extending the home. The additional habitable space on the first floor and bedroom on the second floor is key, but so what happens with this site, it's a little an odd setup because the front of the house faces Wendover, but our second, so we're not doing pretty much no changes to the front, but the secondary side is on Mill Road, and where the rear addition is, that's the change of the elevation. So I'm gonna share my screen. Oh. Hold up, where is the drawing? One second. Okay. Okay, so the site, it's situated, you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's One Wendover Road. It's situated on the corner of Wendover and Mill Road. It's somewhat of an oversized lot for an R5 zoning district. It's around 7,500 square feet. And you can see here that gray portion, that's the addition that we're going to the rear. The applicant does wish to create, the most cost-effective sort of solution in doing this whole project. So we tried to keep it to a minimal effect of the existing house and add, what can optimize space, but be the least impact of, the site and the house and the materials and what have you. So try to, do the best of what we can with the overall budget and as well as, the overall aesthetic. So essentially on the first floor, obviously we're expanding out the kitchen and making more space for the family. And then second floor is basically adding another bedroom and increasing the size of the existing bedroom number 2 that's very tiny and it's more like a nursery basically. And then the roof gable will extend out the back over the addition. So basically in a nutshell, so this existing left side elevation is what essentially changes along Mill Road. I mean, all the landscaping and the fencing will remain. So you, in essence, can't really see much of the house because of the existing fence and whatnot, but you'll get a glimpse of it. So we tried ultimately on that left side facing Mill Road to create some more symmetry with the windows, where these blue windows are the new windows. So tried to make the new bathroom window on the first floor and then actually what becomes the laundry room symmetrical with the staircase window, and then the kitchen windows symmetrical with the bedroom window above. That dotted line is basically where the existing house ends, and that sort of, you can see there, proposed addition is basically what we're adding to the house. There will be new siding, so that, again, the front pretty much, it has shaker vinyl siding on the front, you can see from the pictures, so that will all remain really unchanged. The rest of the house will have new vinyl siding to match the same color, similar style, new roof. It's a asphalt shingle roof. It's a barkwood color, and the white aluminum fascia and soffits around the windows. The windows are, the new windows we're trying to match the existing, so we won't have any dividers, but there'll be Anderson 200 series windows, and along with the rear door and sconce lighting on the rear door as well, but a basic gable on the rear as well. To get maybe a better idea, I tried to do somewhat of a mock-up. So these are pictures of the neighborhood. As you can see, most of the houses do in fact have that, sort of same condition along Mill Road, where their side to Joyce Road, basically that's really the side yard, but it faces that street. Same thing with our project. The front yard faces Wendover, but the side yard faces Mill Road. And basically on picture 9, the view of the side elevation. So that's sort of shows what you can sort of technically see from the street of that addition, so it's along that telephone pole to the left there, the house will sort of extend similarly to what it does now, just a little bit towards the rear. And those are just some pictures on the top of the existing home from what you could see from the actual inside the rear yard as it exists. And yeah, I think as far as, then the site planning with the condensers, those will be away from the street on the right hand side, new AC units, so those will probably pretty much be blocked by everything. And then what we're essentially adding in impervious is really just the patio, so we'll be connecting drywalls and new drywall and stormwater facilities for the added impervious area.
And I just want to reiterate, you're only going to reside the new additions, or you're going to reside the whole house?
No, yeah, well, reside the whole house other than the front. You could see here from the picture. So in picture, basically the front One Wendover. So it's a shaker aluminum siding that will remain with the shutters as well, but the rest of the house will be pretty much all new siding, because some of the windows change on the left that we're modifying there, and obviously the back is new, and the right side there's only a small amount because the garage is there as well.
Yeah, so if that's just that little piece at the top, why don't you reside that little bit?
I mean, it wasn't done that long ago. They redid the roofing and it's hard to tell from there, but I can, try to get them to do that as well. Maybe this picture. Yeah, so it wasn't done all that long ago. A little better picture of what it looks like. So yeah, so
you're getting rid of the in-window air conditioning then, I guess? Yeah,
exactly. So that's what those condensers are doing on the side. But again, yeah, it's a small amount, but I kind of like, at least, the shaker shingle on the front that changes up a little bit with the brick, and then obviously the sides will be new. But we could look into it's not, to drive out, it's not all that, old that they updated the roofing.
Is that aluminum? Is that what you said? It's aluminum?
It is aluminum. It's just not the aluminum lap. It's the aluminum shake siding. It mimics like what a shaker looks like, but it's aluminum.
Okay. So it's going to be different from the remaining.
It is different,
Yeah.
right? It already is.
What helps is that, yeah, we're going to put new siding. We're going to match the color, but it, in essence, no matter what, different because the front is the shaker and the side
Right,
is the left.
oversized. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we just want it to be contiguous. I think we want it to look like it's all new as opposed to, you know, 2/3 of the house or 3/4 of the house looks like it's been redone and, you know,
Sure.
the front is different. So I do see what you're saying, that it's different style, as long as it looks contiguous and it looks like it's all been addressed, then I think. You know.
Adamo, can we look at the side elevation again? Although this is a great view also, that
Sure.
1D. I always was bothered by the fenestration of this house, and I understand it's on Mill Road this side, but it looks like it needs a window on the upper right-hand corner. In the former iteration, in the new iteration, I think it
So
would.
there, you mean, well, looking at it on the right, so there's a bathroom there.
Right, and like maybe putting it above the toilet instead of in the shower would be a lovely place. And it would line up with the laundry room downstairs.
Yeah, that's what I would rather try to do. Yes. So yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe if you looked at, you could take away the one in the shower and do something a little bit more symmetrical in the front. I know you want to make it as cost effective as possible, but I'm sure, having lived with a window in a shower myself once, it's not the best place.
No, yeah, I mean, those awning sort of windows, the 2x2s, are a little bit better by, you know, creating some sort of window, but hiding what's going on inside.
Not even from a, you know, you can always put a curtain or whatever, but just to maintain the window, sometimes it's difficult.
Oh, sure, yeah. Other than, yeah, obviously not in a shower, but yeah. So,
and then if you could go to the front, and
boy, I don't have. Well,
just a picture up front, yeah, like we were looking at before is fine. Then perhaps it could be like a little bit more symmetrical on the front, and just, you know, make those two windows the same. That would be left. Take the one out of the shower and make the two windows. I mean, would that look a little?
Oh, you mean eliminating one of the windows in the bathroom?
Or moving it, let's say. Moving it from the shower to above the toilet on the side, and then.
But then we're left with that one window in the front. Or you mean centering that window?
Well,
that
or
wouldn't be
just making that window as big as the other one. In the same, I think.
Yeah. You mean, yeah, mimicking that window on the left-hand elevation, the left side elevation.
But then also, I don't know. Okay, there's 3 windows on the top floor, right, of the front elevation. The one on the left, you get rid of. That's in the shower. The one on
in the closet.
In the closet.
Well, there's one in the
You make balance to the one that's in the master bedroom, so they become, like, from the outside they look symmetrical. Does that make sense?
I mean, if I did, I would probably want to line it up with the gable. If we took one of those windows out, we may want to line it up with that gable. And what happens is there's a wall right there.
Yeah. All right.
So kind of these two windows, yeah, they although, yeah, it's not, you know, ideal. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
But even if you could just add the one on the other side and then have 2 in the bathroom, I think it would look so much better on that side view.
Up top there, yeah. Well, it'd be in line with that window below.
Yeah. I just think that
Sure.
it's always kind of caught my eye as I've gone by that house, and
I could definitely see that.
And
What bothers me more is almost those corner windows, though, that kind of setup where you have a window on the rear yard and the window in the corner. That I don't really actually, you can see right there in 1C. When you look at that sort of condition, I personally can't really stand those situations. So
yeah,
at least
so that's probably part of my dislike.
okay, so that'll help because yes, again,
Yeah,
that'll be gone, and
That'll
then
be
we
gone.
have 2 windows. Again, I also obviously the kitchen is losing some space inside it, but the windows are key because without any windows on that elevation, as it kind of is, would be not so appealing.
yeah.
Adamo, I understand, going back to my point earlier about the different siding in the front, and I know it is already different, but I just feel even if you match the color, it's going to look old compared to the new siding on the rest of the house.
It's not a whole lot of siding. I would like to keep it the shaker siding, but yeah, it's not a lot to change. So we could change out that siding so that it totally
I just
all
think
matches.
it would give it'll make the renovation just blend in
cleaner.
better.
Sure, of course. Yeah, you're right. Then some cosmetic updates that there'll be some painting and what to spruce up the rest of the house as well would help.
And I know you're not doing much for the front, but to include the front elevation for the planning board meeting helps, so that we don't have to go back and forth. Even though you're not, just to remind people what it looks like, and now you can show new siding.
So yeah, I mean, I think the pictures do help better than an actual just drawing, because the drawing looks, sometimes you maybe wouldn't notice that if you saw the drawing. Oh wow, okay, there's all the siding, but the pictures actually tells you more clarity of what's going on with the front, I guess.
So maybe just a
Sure.
picture on that
On the elevation. Yeah, definitely.
Margaret, I have a question. Are we reviewing the rear elevation or the front elevation?
Well, the reason it's before you is because the rear elevation fronts on Mill Road. Typically, rear elevations don't require any approvals by the ARB or the planning board. So, I mean, really it's here because of the proposed rear elevation. Unfortunately for applicants, that does kind of open up, the whole site to critique. I would be careful about the recommendations I made to the parts of the home that they weren't planning to renovate at all. But so far your comments have been fairly simple, so I think that's okay. But it's really the rear elevation that's before you overall.
It's
the side elevation, you mean?
Or the side, yeah.
The side,
rear
yes.
addition, yeah.
Is the planning board going to be looking at the rear elevation or the front elevation?
Well, again, they're looking at everything you look at. So the only reason it's before you is because it's visible from Mill Road. So, and I think just like you, typically the planning board is more concerned about the elevations that are most visible from the street and are not as concerned about something that, a rear elevation that other people don't see. But they're here because of the rear addition and because it's visible from Mill Road.
Yeah, just asking. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so are there any other questions or comments from the board, or can we open this up for public hearing? I guess we can open it up. I'd like to open up application 20-41 One Wendover Road for a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty. And Margaret, is there anyone here?
Let me see, if anyone would like to make a comment, just use the raise hand feature on Zoom. And I'm not seeing that, so it doesn't appear that there's any comments.
Okay. Alrighty, so then I'd like to close the public hearing for application 20-41, One Wendover Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, and then any more questions or comments before we move this along?
And I just want to summarize I think there were basically only two comments. One was to just propose the new siding for the front elevation as well, so that it's all consistent. And the other one was to potentially add a window on the upper right side of the left elevation, and to include a front elevation or front photograph for the planning board so that they can more readily look at that. But I believe that was it.
That's
Correct. Alrighty, so I'd like to make a motion to approve application 20-41 and send it along to the planning board with a recommendation of approval with the aforementioned comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. All right. Thank
Adamo
you.
again?
Happy New Year now.
Happy New Year.
That's
Same to
great.
you.
All right. You got
Thank
it.
you.
See you
Bye.
guys. Bye. Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.
Alrighty, next up on our agenda this evening is application 20-08, which is 291 Main Street. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
My name is Louis Campana. I'm the architect for the proposed mixed-use development at 291 Main Street for the applicant BKB Eastchester LLC. I'm just going to share my screen. Everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So the proposed development is a permitted use. However, a number of variances were required and recently granted by the zoning board during the November meeting based on the nature of the existing nonconformities. Before we discuss the proposed conditions, I want to first review the site, the existing building, context of the immediate neighborhood. This site, if you look here on the zoning map, the site, which is also known as Section 67, Block 2, Lot 13, is located in the RB zone on the west side of Main Street, which is here, and the intersection with Hall Avenue. Here's the existing survey. We'll just zoom in here. So see. And situated on site is existing, dimensionally non-conforming one-story brick building, which was constructed in 1984. As part of its initial approvals, area variances were granted for 0 setback at the front property line on Main Street and 0 setback at the Hall Avenue street side yard, and a 5-foot setback at the northern side yard. The property was also developed back in '84 without proper buffers around the parking area. However, there is an existing grass area along the rear of the parking lot, which we will maintain and also improve. I just want to go through some of the existing photographs and neighboring properties quickly. Does that work? Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So here is the existing elevation as seen from Main Street. This is 291 Main Street. This is the view from Hall Avenue on the south elevation. This is a view from the parking lot. And then the north elevation with that 5-foot setback. Here's some of the photos of properties around 291 Main Street. As we all know, this one has the Waverly School. This is directly adjacent to the rear yard, the rear property line of 291. This is the main entrance. And then it wraps around to the north and comes back to Main Street. These two structures here are directly to the north of 291 Main Street. Here's 291. This is a mixed-use 3-story building here, another mixed-use building directly adjacent to that to the north. Diagonally across the street to the north, we have the rear of AMHAC. Coming south from that across the street is this 2-story office and dental building. And directly across the street from 291, across Main Street, is the backside of Mavis. And then diagonal across the street to the south is the Sunoco station, this 2-story building here. And then right across the street, right across from Hall Avenue from 291 is this 2-story brick multifamily building. Moving south on Main Street, we have these 2 residential dwellings. And then just west of that 2-story multifamily building is this church. And then beyond that, we have 2 residential dwellings in the R3 zone. Now, what's significant, let me just share this again. Here's a satellite image, 200-foot radius. What's significant about the context around the site, more specifically the 2-story multifamily building here, the church just behind that, and the Waverly School, this being 291, these properties collectively act as a substantial buffer between 291 Main Street and the 1- and 2-family dwellings in the R3 zone. After reviewing the photos of the immediate neighborhood, and if you've ever had the opportunity to drive down this section of Main Street, it's quite evident that the area certainly lacks a sense of identity. We took this into consideration and strive to create a building and site that will provide this area with the identity it lacks and produce a structure that will work to enhance the character of the neighborhood and hopefully act as a catalyst for future development. I would like to talk about the proposed conditions. Here's the proposed site plan. We're proposing to convert this 1-story brick building into a 3-story mixed-use building. The first floor will be renovated and converted into office space for the owner's accounting and insurance agency. And the 2 stories above will accommodate or consist of 5 residential units. There'll be 3 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
We're also proposing to reconfigure the parking area and add planted buffers along the perimeter of the area where it currently lacks. Bring it into conformance. We're also proposing to implement a semi-privacy fence along the western property line in the rear, and also the northern property line coming down towards Main Street with a gate, where it's currently a chain link fence is located in this position. We have the garbage enclosure here, and then an existing stair and ramp to access the building from the rear. And then we have the main entrance on the corner of Main Street and Hall Avenue. Now, I'm going to just go through the plans quickly. Here's the first floor. This is the office space. This is the back entrance with the ramp and the stairs. The residents will enter here and then go up the stairs or elevator to the 2nd and 3rd floor. And then the office space could be entered here. This is the accessible route to come in. And then obviously we would have the front entrance off of Main Street and Hall Avenue. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to mention. The 2nd floor, I didn't touch on the 2nd floor yet, but we have a single, a 1-bedroom unit here, and then 2 2-bedroom units here. What we chose to do, and we did so for 2 reasons, we stepped back the 2nd floor wall so as to not, so it doesn't, it wouldn't be built on top of the existing footprint. But we did it for two reasons. One, to give the residents on the second floor an outdoor space, and two, we wanted to, I guess, lend some relief to the intersection. We didn't want the second and third floor to be looming over the intersection, so we stepped it back. On the third floor, we have a two-bedroom unit here and another two-bedroom here with a third floor roof terrace accessible through the hallway. And here are the elevations. This is just the shot of the corner diagonally across from, well, I guess, standing in front of the Sunoco. And here are the other elevations. Here you can see how it steps back. And it steps back here too, but we do come back out to the footprint beyond, towards the parking lot. But in terms of the exterior, we took a simple approach to the massing and chose to allow the materials and the texture to breathe life into the simplicity of the form. Now on the first floor, this existing structure here, it does consist of brick veneer. And we will be maintaining the brick veneer. However, we are planning on or propose to whitewash it or lime wash it. And what that is, it's a non-sacrificial coating which impregnates itself into the brick. So it's a very low maintenance. The qualities are low maintenance qualities. That brick veneer comes up to a coping, which would be a precast coping with a step profile. It'd be a tan color. And we'd be replacing the existing railings with a new iron rail with rectilinear and square profiles. That would be located here in between the pilasters that sort of come up and go beyond the terrace behind. The awnings would be black. The storefront windows would be black and aluminum, clad aluminum frame. The second and third story, we're going to implement the same brick veneer. Okay, and that will also be whitewashed. We want to recall some of the details on the existing structure down below, like this double soldier course band that caps the wall here. And we want to implement that under portions of the cornice and also above a number of the windows around the elevation. This is the view from Hall Avenue, and this is the view from Main Street. Here's the elevation from the parking lot. One other thing I wanted to mention about the materials here, the windows on the second and third floor will also be clad aluminum black. We have these Juliet balcony railings, which would match the railings that we're putting here on the terrace. This would be a flat recessed panel, which would be painted with a Farrow ball off black. And this detail I want to incorporate to enhance, visually enhance the verticality of the building. What this is a corbelled brick surround. So it actually, the furthest course out steps out the most as the largest projection, and then it recedes back to the window. So it gives the elevation some depth, texture, and also will provide for nice shadow lines along the facade. We are incorporating copper gutter boxes and leaders, and a federal style cornice, which will be painted Farrow ball off black as well. This elevation, as previously stated, this is from the parking lot. We're going to have the canopy, which would be over the ramp here and the steps, just to protect people during inclement weather. And here's the garbage enclosure, which would be white vinyl fencing with gates and hardware. And this is the north elevation. This elevation is on the side where that other three-story building is situated. In terms of landscape lighting or exterior lighting, we plan to implement lighting in the planters around the perimeter of the parking area, and that would be we would use this fixture, okay, which is a path light, but the throw is pretty wide. These are spread at 10-foot intervals, okay, and then we're implementing these LED post lights for the parking lot lighting in the two back corners of the parking lot. There's also a number of trees which are proposed along the south side and the east side of the building. And under those trees, we will have directional decorative lighting, uplighting, to highlight the trees. They'll also give a nice shadow against the whitewashed building as well when lit. Along the ramp here and the steps, we're going to implement these recessed step lights, just to highlight that for safety. And along the exterior of the building, on the first floor and on the second floor, this dashed line here indicates the second floor. We'll have a number of decorative wall sconces, which you can see here. It's Restoration Hardware fixture, DeLorean box sconce. Here are some of the elements, just more close up, more detail. This is the Federal style cornice, painted in Faro ball off black. This is that double soldier course banding. We have the gutter box and leaders, the copper gutter box and leader. This is the cast stone or precast coping with the step profile, the railing, the black windows, and then finally I was able to find this picture, and this is very similar to what that detail will look like. This detail here, which you see around the windows. And you can see the shadow lines it creates and lends itself to just nice texture with the whitewash brick. This is an example of the perimeter fence. It's a semi-privacy fence. This will be a composite material, white, and these are slats which are spaced, so they're hence the semi-privacy. This is the garbage enclosure here, okay, white vinyl fence and gates. And finally, we have a rendering here of the corner of the building, showing the landscaping and what our intentions are. Our landscape architect, he had a family emergency, so he cannot attend tonight. So if you'd like me to review the landscape plan, I can do my best. With that, if you have any questions.
I think I'm just gonna make a quick comment
Sure.
on the building itself. I think that you really capture the details, and I think you made it look really well in terms of all the details that you came up with, especially with the whitewash that you came up with, and the details around the window, which is that brick detail, which is I really liked, which around the window, which is really good. And also the cornices. It's just around the windows, is simple detail, which is really it's simple but it's really architecturally inviting in the area. So I think I like what you've done to the building.
Thank you.
I agree with Carlos. The general architecture of the building, it is much of an improvement to what's there now. I am familiar with the building as it exists, and this looks so beautiful as an entrance, and as you said before, they're going to use it for their offices, their insurance and whatever offices.
Yes, yes.
So it looks good, but in its current state, or prior state, I should say, it never really worked as an entrance on this side because the parking's on the other side. They had doors on both sides, and it was awkward. And I can see that same thing possibly happening. As much as this looks beautiful, people just want to go from the parking lot into the, if you could go to look to the back entrance.
On the elevation?
Yeah.
Okay, a second. So this is the entrance to the residence, and then this is the back entrance to the office space.
Right. I guess since they're going to use then the interiors, the floor level is going to be still the same, correct? Like whatever's happening on the level?
Existing first floor?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to remain the same, exactly. Yeah.
That little well down there had a lot of flooding issues.
Yes. Yeah, we know.
So I'm sure you probably know they may have even had more since they were, nobody there or whatever, but they had constantly, they had ruined floors and all sorts of things. But so beware, do put something in there that with a double fail safe or something on the sump pump, because that you're going to need it. And people just tend to go that way. So if you look at also the interior elevation, if they do enter that way, they're not entering in the reception area, I guess, then.
No, they wouldn't. Let me just go to the first floor here. No, they would have to, they would traverse through this hallway. This hallway has glass partitions where the offices are. So it's not tunnel. It's more of I would think more of an inviting procession to the area here. Exactly. You're not walking through just like a sheetrock tunnel with doors. So it is going to feel open, not necessarily a lobby or a foyer in a sense, but it is the back door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are going to use it probably more than they
Most
should,
likely.
because the front looks so beautiful from the from that side. It really does look quite nice. I know that in front of the ARB, we don't approve signage. It's a separate committee, a sign committee, which I am on. But in a building like this where you're doing it, it would be nice to know if there's a specific place, if you're considering where the signage for the office location will be going.
Yeah, so we put some thought into that, and that will reappear in front of the board for discussion. We wanted to use this area here, and we threw a few ideas out. But
it's not going to work before you go any further. It can't go above the floor that it's on.
Well, this is, in terms of signage, it's not going to be for the actual agency itself.
Okay.
It's going to be, we were thinking of implementing a clock.
Okay.
Potentially. And then the signage would be on the awnings down below.
Okay.
For the actual agency.
When you say just the clock, so then that's not signage, that's just decoration, or there's something on the clock?
Underneath the sign, we're thinking about putting BKB or BKB building underneath the sign, just to demarcate the actual structure itself, not signage for the actual office.
Like a cornerstone in a sense?
Exactly, yeah.
Margaret, where does that fall in the sign law?
If they put signage up at the top of the building itself?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, I'd have to refresh my memory with the sign law, but I think if it's for the building itself, you have a lot of latitude. I mean, it really boils down to the overall aesthetics of it.
Right.
But if it's for the building itself, I don't think there'd be a problem with it as long as it looked appropriate for the building.
Maybe it wouldn't be so terrible to have it in cast stone of the same color. You know what I mean? Like just
I like the idea of what you mentioned first, which is the clock idea, which I think it would be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bottom with the signage of the building.
Yeah, and for the clock, I was thinking of something very simple, not necessarily something in a frame, but like raised Roman numerals on the whitewash brick.
Right.
Something just simple enough just to catch your eye, not necessarily, we don't want the clock that's in front of town hall or down in the village of Tuckahoe on this building. I think it's just a bit more clean, a bit more modern. So that's something that we would probably propose when we come back to the board for signage.
okay. So I think you need to put it as part of the plan because it wouldn't be part of what we consider signage, and it's not something that the signage committee would
I agree.
redo. Because this is really part of the architecture. I mean, you could certainly, it's not something that we would hold you up for here, but we would request that you do it for the planning board because it's part of the whole picture here. And then as far as the signage area, if you could just put like something on, just to suggest if that's what you wanted to do. But the signs is one thing. The clock is definitely part of the architecture.
Okay. And I would like not only to show that to the planning board, but if I would like to send it to you guys as well, so you get the opportunity to look at it too.
Okay. And then back again to the backside of elevation. Did you consider doing the garbage in black, the garbage enclosure?
We didn't because, let me just go back to it. We didn't because the building is white and we didn't really want to highlight the garbage enclosure. We'd rather just sort of go away. I would have loved to put it on the side of the building in that aisle, but it's pretty tight back there. There's only about 4.5 feet, so you can't really get around them. But if this was white and the backdrop was whitewash brick, I just think it's a subtle element, not necessarily something to call attention to.
I think that the whitewash brick is going to register more natural looking and more of a natural creamy color. Not that I'm saying make that cream colored vinyl because I can't stand that. I think that the white is gonna like stand out like too bright, and that maybe the black would be better, or even a gray. I think it would just kind of not show up as much as you want it not to show up.
I could certainly see gray.
Garbage and the
Yeah.
dumpsters and the trucks and everything. I can just imagine what the white's going to look like after a while.
I like your suggestion regarding the gray color. I think that would be subtle enough, but something that, like you just mentioned, wouldn't necessarily attract dirt and get dirty when it's in operation. So
yeah,
I'd be happy to implement that.
And then that awning above the walkway there, or the ramp there, would that be black as well?
That's correct. Yes.
And then how high up would that awning be? Like from
right here?
Yeah. What I'm considering is just like, okay, how does furniture get into this place? For the apartments, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
there's not like a freight elevator, right? So it would go in this way.
It would go through, yeah, through this door and up the stairs. Yeah.
There's no elevator at all in
There's an elevator. There's an elevator, but it's not a freight.
Okay.
I mean, you can move small items through it, but not a sofa or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a way though to get.
Yeah.
In and out.
I have a question in regards to the rear. I see the entrance to the resident versus the commercial, the office area in the rear. Can that area be somehow worked out that maybe setting it back into the area, creating some kind of a better entranceway, than there's just two doors?
Are you referring to?
Like there's the door to go into the commercial office, and there's a door to the residential.
Right.
My suggestion is maybe setting that whole area in more to create more like a foyer, so they can go one to the other, in like
a common vestibule.
Right. That's what I.
I think you probably want to keep them separate, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would keep them separate for fire separation as well. But I thought you were saying move this exterior wall in to create more of like an outdoor vestibule. Is that
right? That's what I was thinking. Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
It potentially could work. If we did that, I would probably put the residence door on this wall, looking in.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
That would be more like a double door in that wall. Correct.
Yes, I can see that.
Or like it would be like a single door with a side glass entrance.
Right. Right. Okay.
That's just a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. No, but I would like to look at that.
Yeah, you may just need a little bit better use of that space in a communal way. I know you want to keep them separate, but there may be some more space that you can share for the moment, that moment of getting down there and then deciding, okay, I'm going here, I'm going there, kind of.
I mean, not only that, I think it's a better, not for the handicap, I think the ramp, and you got a better
flow?
Better flow, correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that suggestion.
It is a nice building, and the details are beautiful.
Thank you.
Like I said before, I like what you've done with the building, and I think you capture the details that are with the whitewash brick. I think I like that. I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I think that you did.
Yeah. As a building, it's certainly an improvement to the area. For the parking, it's going to be a disaster. But I know that comment is totally meant for the zoning, and I missed it, unfortunately, because I don't know how it's going to work. Shame on me for not attending that zoning board meeting. That's all I have to say.
Sounds like you have history with this building.
As a customer, I visited the building as a customer, when it was a dance studio.
Right.
And the parking was a disaster. And they had offices downstairs, and they didn't have any apartments upstairs, obviously. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I look at the floor plan. If you look at the floor plan for the offices, and I see 11 desks, or 11, including the reception area, like 11 chairs, at least, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think to myself, where are all these people going to park? And then their customers. I don't know. I just don't. And then on top of that, you have the parking, the
Residents.
How many units are there total?
5.
Okay.
Yeah, 5.
And some of them are 2-bedroom. I mean, and on the street, it's very, very difficult. There's like permit parking, I think, on the street, so you can't even go out into the street. Do they have intentions of telling the apartment dwellers that they can only park at night?
Well, the idea, we had JMC, who are traffic engineers on this, and they put together a study, and they determined that based on the alternating use of the building, that the parking was adequate. The residents actually only require, I believe it's 9 spaces, whereas the office, based on the square footage, requires, I believe it was 19 or 20, if I'm not mistaken. So, but there is parking in the area here, and based on the current building owner's business, this is what he's anticipated to grow into. So his business is actually smaller than what this can accommodate at the moment. But the traffic engineer was able to confirm, and Phil Greeley, the town's engineer, was in agreement with their study.
Okay.
It sounds
like a miracle. 2% lacking. It sounds like a miracle to me too. I have a hard time biting my tongue on this one. I'm sorry, because it's a beautiful building. It is. It's lovely, and aesthetically, which is what the ARB is here for, to make this town more beautiful, and this does.
Thank you.
So I cannot take that away from you at all. But I just feel like the parking is a disaster waiting to happen, and it's my fault for not figuring it out sooner. I'm sorry. I apologize to the board or anybody else.
Well, just for the record too, I mean, it was reviewed by the planning board at a number of meetings and at the zoning board, and they were, parking was their big issue. So to make you feel better, I don't know whether, that concern was raised and they did consider it. So I totally understand why you may disagree with those determinations, but it's not that it was something that was overlooked or taken lightly. And in fact, Lewis can tell you, I made it very clear to him that the parking was going to be the biggest issue, and to make sure he had a traffic engineer. And that was the biggest issue for both the planning board that did adopt a neg deck for seeker and for the zoning board. So even if you disagree with them, I'm not sure voicing your concern would have made a big difference. It would have, kind of reiterated some of the concerns that they already had.
Well.
So
I have just a couple of comments on the landscape plan. And that
yes.
is for the 2 European horn beams, that's the Corpinus speculus in the front, at the front entrance. They should be the type called fastigiata, which means they will grow upright and look columnar like they do on that rendering.
Yes, just bear with me for a second. I'm going to pull it up here. So you're referring to
the bottom right corner there, right? Where
right here.
So that should be fastigiata. That's Corpinus speculus fastigiata. So they grow in that vase-like shape that you have on the rendering.
Right.
That's one comment. Everything else is that's exactly what I was talking about. Those trees you have right flanking the front entrance, and then the one at the corner going north.
Here, and these are the trees that will be uplit.
Okay.
As I discussed in the electrical plan.
And if you want them to grow that way, in that shape, you have to specify fastigiata for that type of tree. The ones that you have in the parking lot, they don't have to be fastigiata because it seems they're going to form a hedge, and you're going to have somebody there to maintain that and cut that because otherwise it loses its shape.
That is correct. Yeah, they're like a pleated. What's a better term for that? Pleated, right? Is that the term?
Leaves.
Pleated. So this is around
where that's how they're going to have it as a hedge.
Exactly. So yes. So this hornbeam hedge is going to be located here along the northern side, and then also here along the western side.
Right.
And then we have our Yoshino cherry trees, which will also be uplit.
Okay.
So this it'll actually be pretty beautiful parking area.
So, Louis, at the back, when you were saying pleated, you mean the polarded? They're going to be that real trimmed look?
Here.
Yeah, that takes a lot of effort. And remember, even though you're going to have some underplanting, between the leaves of your tree and your underplanting, where those stems are, is going to be empty.
Correct. So behind that's where we're going to have the semi-privacy fence. So you'll see a slatted surface behind it.
All righty. That's what I was I just want to make sure you have something to bridge that gap. And that's why I also indicated the ones in the front at the entrances should be the different type. Those are pictures of fastigiata. You should just write down that's what
right, fastigiata. Okay.
And also, your landscape architect didn't stamp his drawings or leave us his number. He really should have that number on the plan.
I will have him do that.
Yes, his registered RLA number.
I will have him do that. Okay.
But I think it's really nice.
Thank you.
The existing north elevation on the photographs that you included with the packet, where you see that chain link fence and it's not a beautiful thing, right?
No, so that chain link fence, you're referring to the fence that's sort of
that one, yeah. That
this is gone.
The elevation. So what is there a rendering or something that shows me what that elevation will look like now? Kind of.
Like a 3D rendering or an elevation?
Well, either really. I think there's an elevation, right?
Yeah, there's an elevation. So that side backs up pretty close to an existing structure.
Right.
Hold on 1 second. I'll find my screen here. Okay. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, so this is the north side right here, and this is the neighboring 3-story building right here. So this is pretty. This is 5 feet. This is probably 10.
Okay, but the elevation anyway. Is it going to remain stucco like that? Is it going?
It'll be re-stuccoed.
Re-stuccoed. Okay.
It'll be a white stucco. I did not mention that, but yes, it will be.
Okay.
We have to get rid of what's there now for sure.
Okay.
If I may, I just have a couple of sort of quick comments.
Sure.
I think the architecture and what you've done with this, Louis, is really, really nice. I kind of really like the loft-like look of the building and the sort of simplicity of and the balance of the brick and the details and the corbelling and the railings. I guess I would like to possibly see a sample of the whitewash. I know it's looking at being familiar with the building and looking at the pictures. It's an engineered brick that currently exists. And I'm assuming that all of the two levels that you're adding will be similar. So I think I'd just like to, I guess, see what the finish of the brickwork would look like, just to sort of get a better understanding of what the whitewash will look when it's all done. I do like the two renderings of the daylight and the dusk view. I certainly like the 9-foot windows. I think that's certainly a sort of luxury component of what you've looked to try and accomplish here. So that's certainly, sort of the positives that I'd like to sort of share with you. Just sort of looking at some of the, the layout issues and kind of the logistics of the existing space and the rear parking area. Is the existing or is the proposed garbage area, it looks like it's around 15 feet by 5 feet wide. Is that substantial enough to facilitate 5 apartments, and possibly is that also going to be used for the commercial building? So that's kind of one question I have. I think you sort of alluded to it, that your preference would be to, possibly locate it elsewhere, but space is a premium, and parking space is even more of a premium. I'm not totally, sold on the fact that, that is really your front entry and your front entrance to the apartments. And basically the first thing that you see as you enter, and the first thing you see and possibly, smell as you enter and egress that the residential component is that refuse area. So, I'd like to kind of just sort of see, is there any other sort of areas, either inside or possibly outside, where, where would, potentially give an alternate location for that, if that's something that could be accommodated or could be considered.
We have discussed a number of locations, all of which, other than this one and potentially one other, affected the amount of parking. So that was the biggest issue here was the parking, as Margaret touched upon. Now, if this is meant to accommodate the offices plus including the five apartment units. But if we had to, and if this is or could be a viable option, there will be a door that comes out of the side here from the office space. We could potentially put garbage back here solely for the office space, so that way this area here will be completely dedicated toward for the residents.
Yeah,
it could be an option.
Again,
but I understand what you're saying. It's right next to the entrance.
Right, like that.
Yeah.
That's from just from a sort of practical form follows function, and from a planning standpoint, it certainly wouldn't be your starting point in terms of where you want to put your sort of refuse area. Number one, for obvious reasons, but is that area sufficient and large enough to accommodate 5 units? Again, we're certainly a town where recycling is commonplace and important, and I think You probably have a, you know, a waste bin and then possibly a recyclable bin, or certainly a location. You know, even the way you've drawn it, it looks like you've got, you know, possibly 6 bins. It's, again, just scaling it, it looks like it's possibly 15 feet wide by maybe 4 or 5 feet deep. Again, the last thing you want to see, and you've gone to great lengths to sweat the details, the last thing you want to see, and I'm sure either tenants or customers or you know, your building owner who's going to occupy the building, last thing you want to see is a refuse area that's teeming over,
Right.
you know, on the side or the back of this beautiful building. So that's really just a comment that I'm, you know, sort of thought about in kind of looking at the drawings. You know, the other thing, is there any equipment that how high are the parapets? Is there any air conditioning equipment, any condensers or air handlers or anything that's going to peak above the roof level or the parapet level that's going to be evident from you know, from the street level?
So these parapets are 3 feet high, the main parapets, and then we jump up on the corners. There will be mechanical equipment, like you said, yes, condensers, air handlers, vents, that type of thing, which would be concealed and not visible from the street.
Okay.
And that roof terrace area, is that for just the roof, the third floor?
It's meant to be a communal space, so it could be used obviously by the people on the third floor, but if someone from the second floor wanted to use it, they could, if they wanted to go up and sit at the table, because you can't really put a, you know, a dining table out here. We don't necessarily want that. You know, dining tables, maybe a small chair, but something we don't want to see from the street. So yes, the second floor residents could certainly use that third floor communal space.
And the elevator, is it hydraulic? Is it a traction? Does it need like a bulkhead on the roof, or are you just looking to dig a pit?
This type of elevator has a bulkhead, which I believe is about 24 inches. So okay. It's not necessarily a commercial elevator, but it's the type that complies with
ADA.
With the ADA for, you know, for renovations like this.
Right.
So it's not like your typical elevator with an 8-foot or 10-foot bulkhead on top of the building.
Uh-huh.
Can you go back to the third floor plan?
Yes.
See where that exterior part is? So that is on the, that kind of faces that other building that where you're really close, right?
Yeah, so if we go to the, let me see here for a second. So, sorry, file.
It's on the north side of the building.
It's on the north side. It's located, it's justified more towards the rear of the building, right around here.
Okay.
So yes, but it does face, it would face the building. That also has a 3-foot parapet on it as well.
You know, just not to sort of beat a dead horse here, but I think hopefully we're going to, you know, get to a point where we can, you know, move this thing along. But I just think that that this exterior refuse area is potentially going to be a sort of is something that needs to sort of be looked at a little bit more, because again, I'm not sure if there's a calculation similar to a parking lot or similar to FAR or whatever calculation that may need to be applied. But I just don't think that this refuse area is sufficient for the amount of apartments.
Okay.
It's not like one apartment has a dedicated space. So I think it's worth considering, because you did say that your client and the building owner is looking to kind of grow into this space, and it certainly seems like there's more than adequate space inside. Is it worth looking to try and build some sort of interior refuse room within the building on the ground floor? Is that an option? That's something that could be considered?
Yeah, quite frankly, if we go to the floor plan, I could show you something. There's an electrical closet that's actually accessed from that alleyway. If there is some sort of a way where we could accommodate it, I think that would be ideal, because then you can access it through the aisle.
Right.
And under the stair may also be a good location for that, if possible.
Right. I just think it's going to be a problem. I think it's going to come up, whether it's, and I'm sure we're all going to be down the road, and from an architect standpoint, that's that's a distant memory, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think from a practical standpoint, I just think that this is a little bit of a weak point in the sort of in the operation and sort of initial layout of the building. So I would just like you to consider it, because I think at the end of at the end of this project, I think it's something that nobody wants to say, wow, we should have thought about this a little bit, given it a little bit more thought. I just think it's a little bit shy in terms of the requirements. So now's the time to think about it, and if we can capture it, then hopefully we'll all we'll all have done our job.
And can I just add something to that?
Sure.
For the actually for the preliminary review by the planning board, I don't think that came up, and I was just reviewing the submission to the planning board to see whether those trash enclosures were included, and they were. And at that point, the planning board knew it was being referred to the zoning board for the area variances. But now that it's coming back, I think that actually, I think Enda's right with the planning board. That will be a big issue. Not only the size of it, but also where it's located right now. It's not even very accessible if you're going to be having a private carter and you have cars parked right in front of it. So I think the accessibility of it and the size are going to be important. And another issue is how sturdy the enclosure is, because they tend to get bumped into and banged into. And based on past experience, we really have had issues in the past with enclosures that are too small or that are overflowing. So the planning board has tried to be more cognizant of making sure that they're sized more appropriately, that they're more easily accessible. And they've also been imposing conditions as part of site plan approval that a private carter has to come a certain number of times a week, or if it's found that the garbage is overflowing, that we have the authority to issue a violation to require that a carter comes more often. But so I think it's a very good point, and it will be something that the planning board will look in a lot more detail too. So, and reminded us all of it, because they don't want to overlook that, and it has been a problem with commercial properties and multifamily properties in the past.
Margaret, in general, on that street, are the garbage pickups on Main Street?
Well, for any multifamily or commercial structure, it's private carter. So I don't. Do you mean where would a private carter pick up it would be whatever arrangement the property owner has with their private carter.
In general, on the other buildings, like their neighbors, do they put garbage cans out front?
I don't know.
No. Well, it would be interesting to look back and see what, because there's another new, multifamily, literally down the street from this that came
Right.
before our board.
And I think if I'm recalling this correctly, that's 249 Main Street. I think he has an interior room where a room in the interior where the garbage is being stored.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like you're going to lose a parking spot if you want to do a.
Well, it's pick your poison.
Well, that's what it's either that or we find a place that's accessible from outside.
Yeah, it's inside.
It's stored inside but accessible from outside.
Mhm.
Right.
I think that's the key.
So I think you just need to look at that and maybe play with it to try and fulfill what because
you're going to lose parking 6 or 1. Pick it.
Well, again, he'd have to go back to the zoning board. So I think his ideal solution would be to find something inside the building if they could do that. And that has been done with other proposals as well. I remember we had a restaurant on Garth Road where they have it at the rear of the building, but interior.
Right.
Okay. So listen, I think do we want to just open it up to the public? So at least we go through the motions.
Yes. So I'm making a motion to open up application 20-08, 291 Main Street for a public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty. Margaret, is there anyone in the audience here?
I do not see any raised hands, so no.
Okay. Folks, do we need to see this application again, or are we ready to send it along? Because I asked you only because of the public hearing. Is there anything worth coming back to us
No,
for?
I think from an architectural and an ARB standpoint, I think it certainly fulfills
correct.
What our role is, and we've done. I think we've given the planning board enough to sort of contemplate as part of their review. So I think we can close the public hearing.
Okay. So then I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for 20-08, 291 Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then,
Do you want me to go over the comment?
yes, please.
Okay, I think I got them all, but so if you are going to propose a clock on the front elevation, show that to the planning board because that would be incorporated into the architecture. and you could also, I could also certainly forward that to ARB members if you just wanted some casual input from them. Any proposed signage would go before the sign committee. It was recommended that you have a gray trash enclosure rather than the white trash enclosure.
If it's there.
If it's
What?
If it's there. At this point.
Good point. Forgot about that. Yes. Yeah, forget that one. You had also talked about having some kind of common vestibule at the rear of the building. I didn't get the details of that very much, but I think that you understand that.
Correct. Yeah.
That the planting plan has to indicate that it's the vestigiata horn beams at the corners of the building. Right. Have your landscape architect sign and stamp the plans with his license number. And you had talked about seeing a sample of the whitewash. Do you want to see that, or is that for the planning board to see?
Well, if something is getting sent to us, I'd kind of just like to,
Sure.
if there's a screenshot that that you have, Louis, that obviously it's something you've done in the past or you're familiar with this type of brick, then if you're sending something through, whether it's the clock or whether it's a revision to the to the refuse area, either inside or outside, then I think that can be kind of captured in a very simple email.
All right.
So if you have something that you can kind of show us in terms of the brick wash, then I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
And then the main issue, I think, was the demonstrating that whatever trash enclosure you have, that it is sufficiently sized to accommodate all the residential units and the office, that it's located so that it's accessible and not right at the entrance there. So to consider relocating it, and I think ideally within the building.
Sounds good.
Just one other issue regarding the clock.
Yeah.
Would that clock, and again, I'm not sure whether the clock is a is the tail wagging the dog, whether the clock is a way to add some sort of signage for the building, or whether it's more of an architectural feature. And again, if it's something that you feel strongly about, then I'm absolutely open, because everything that you've shown us is very well presented, and I think it's a really nice design. However, would that clock and the mechanism of that clock need access from the inside, and would that be, would that require access into the building? Is it a maintenance issue? Is it something that's going to operate continuously? Again, thinking it from a practical standpoint,
right.
You just want to sort of work it through the thought processes. That's all.
Right. I completely understand. So the clock was one suggestion that we had. The other was just simply BKB building. But I do understand now that, we're talking about it and thinking through it. The maintenance could become an issue, because you don't want the clock to say 3 o'clock all day long as you're driving by.
Yeah. If the clock is a way to brand the building with BKB building, then right. I'm not necessarily sure the clock is the right thing. If you feel, hey,
right.
this is a spot that the addition of a clock is going to be the icing on the cake, so to speak, for this building, which I don't necessarily think it needs to be, because I think the building is going to be beautiful and it's going to stand alone on itself. But if there's another way to brand this building, and I understand that that's important for your client, right?
Right.
If there's another way to brand this building that doesn't require, a sort of ongoing maintenance, and something that's going to be more of an issue than it being a simple branding issue, then from a practical standpoint, that's why I'm bringing it up. And again, right. That's entirely up to you. It's your purview. Again, you've brought it this far, and I'm sure it's going to be an easy one to bring across the finish line. So I don't think there's anything more that needs to be said on that, other than me just giving you my opinion.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Okay, so all comments in, folks?
Yeah.
Yes.
All righty. So then I'd like to make a motion, not an emotion, a motion, to pass along application 20-08-291 Main Street along to the planning board with the aforementioned comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you again for your lovely presentation and for the improvement of the area in an aesthetic sense. It is a nice building, and I think it is
nice.
A great job.
Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate that.
And Lewis is actually the next applicant as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So you just transition in.
Two double headers tonight.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. All right, so just bear with me for a second. I just need to get situated and change my project here.
Okay. And in the meantime, I can mention that the next application and last application for the evening is application 20-42 for the address 10 Ridge Street.
Okay. Bear with me.
10 Ridge
Okay.
Street is?
Yes. Good evening, Chair, members of the board. Louis Campana, architect. for the applicant, Matthew Forgione, for the proposed additions and alterations to the single-family dwelling located at 10 Ridge Street. The existing dimensionally, let me share my screen quickly. There we go. Everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the existing dimensionally non-conforming structure is situated on a 13,500 square foot lot located in the R5 zone. And as you can see here on the radius map, 10 Ridge Street does front both Ridge Street and Prospect Avenue. So I go to the site plans and zoom back out. Here's the existing site plan, and the dwelling here on 10 Ridge. You can see how that fronts Ridge Street, driveway and walkway up to front portico. And then there's an accessory garage, which is located in the rear yard that's accessible by curb cut on Prospect. You can see this long driveway here. The accessory garage will remain. However, we will be modifying this driveway with the intentions of creating a proper buffer area between the neighboring property and the driveway itself, and to reduce the impact of impervious coverage on the lot. This is the proposed condition. So we're going to remove a portion of that driveway and create a nice area here for hedge and plantings. And here, this is the dwelling shown with its proposed additions. The existing house sits 25 feet from the road currently, where the setback in this zone is 30 feet. So our second floor additions actually are stepped back to avoid variances. And then that second floor then is justified towards the rear yard. So it sort of slides over the first floor footprint. You'll see that in the floor plans. Just want to go through some of the existing photographs. So this here, this is the existing home. Okay, it's a 1.5 story Cape style house, stone veneer, replacement windows, white vinyl siding, and a tan asphalt roof. And if you look behind this van, you can see a double door as opposed to a garage door. So we will be improving most of this. This is the right side, or the south side of the house. I'm sorry, the north side of the house. Here is the rear. And then the south side, and then Ridge Street is out front here, just so you can orient yourself. We'll go back to the drawings. Here are the existing elevations in 2D. And here are the proposed plans. So what we're doing is we're reconfiguring the first floor while maintaining a majority of the exterior walls and interior bearing walls, but accommodating more of an open floor plan concept and better flow through the house. The existing front portico structure itself, the steps and the landing, will remain. We are incorporating a box bay in the dining room towards the front of the house here. And then towards the rear, we have this projection, which will encompass a banquette, and that will be situated beneath a shallow covered porch with columns here. And when I was explaining before that the second floor will sort of be justified towards the rear yard, these columns support the second floor. So you can see how it overhangs there. Here's the second floor plan. You can see that we have the portico out here. The front wall of the shed dormer stepped back to comply with the 30-foot setback. And then here's the portion of second floor which overhangs the first floor footprint. If you look closely, there's a dashed line here. That dashed line indicates that first floor footprint. Here's the proposed front elevation. So we're taking this cave, which was built in some time during the 1950s, and we're converting it into a Dutch colonial, more of a traditional looking home, reminiscent of many homes throughout the town. What we're doing is we're removing the stone veneer from the house, and we will be incorporating white hardy plank siding with 6-inch exposure. Okay, the windows will receive AZAC or PVC casing, which will be painted white. We would have a 2-inch subsill, which would also be PVC and painted white. And the windows that don't engage with the cornice will have a solid crown cap with a copper drip edge. Here's the existing front stoop and stairs. We'll be removing those very slender 6-inch columns that are there currently and replacing them with these 12-inch diameter columns with a new covering. We'll also be implementing handrails, black iron handrails and guardrails on the portico because of the drop that we have on either side. And because we're taking the stone veneer off of the house, we're going to parge the existing foundation wall with a 3-coat cement stucco, which will be white or slightly off-white. We'll be removing the double door that currently exists and replacing that with an insulated sapele mahogany carriage house garage door, an overhead door. Above that is the box bay, which is in the dining room. This will be clad with PVC boards painted white. And here we have flat recessed panels with a square bed molding, just to give it some depth. And that will terminate beneath the overhang. All of the eaves, the cornices, the eaves, the rakes, all of that will be interstate profiles, interstate lumber profiles in an AZAC material, also painted white. And the windows will be Anderson 200 series simulated divided light double hung. The front door will be an insulated sapele mahogany, painted black. And then we're showing lighting fixtures on either side here. The roofing material is going to be a Timberline HD charcoal asphalt roofing. Okay, and you can see that this shed dormer here, since it does step back from the front wall of the house, there is a window well which will be finished with copper soldered seams, 16-ounce copper, and the roof will run back, terminate into the face of the shed dormer, bite onto the corner, and then recede back to the new ridge height. Okay, we're increasing the pitch of the roof here as well. In doing so, we also have to raise the chimney mass. So we would be using brick to match existing to raise it to a proper elevation. And then along its juncture with the roof, we'll have 16-ounce copper flashing. Side elevation, you can see how the second floor plate is justified towards the rear yard, right? Here's the side of the portico, our iron railings, existing stone veneer and stairs. And here you can see how the second floor is supported, well, it terminates on top of the roof, supported by these Tuscan columns, round and tapered Tuscan columns. This is the banquette box bay, which projects out underneath that covered porch. And we have another shed dormer towards the rear of the house, which is broken by a gable. This is the rear. Again, covered porch, series of lighting fixtures beneath that porch just to give it a nice glow at night. Here's that gable, which breaks the expanse of the shed roof in the rear, and also gives us flexibility in terms of ceiling conditions in the master bedroom. And this here is the southern elevation with the same detail as the north elevation, just a different window configuration based on the layout of the spaces on the interior. We'd also have, I forgot to mention here, stepped copper flashing along the chimney as well on this side. I do have photographs of neighboring properties. Similar to the last project we saw, this area, let me see if I have it here. Based on the existing architecture, where is it? Sorry, just bear with me for 1 second. Ridge Street also has a wide variety of architectural styles, and not much of a sense of identity here either, except for this house here. This is one of the historic houses in town, made out of the Tuckahoe marble. This is across the street to the south. This house right here is one house removed from 10 Ridge Street to the south. I'm sorry, to the north. This is 7 Ridge, right next door to that historic house that we saw here, which was just recently updated over the past couple of years. This house is directly adjacent to 10 Ridge. This is 10 Ridge right here. Here's 8 Ridge. So you can see that there's a number of different architectural styles. So we thought it'd be appropriate to use a traditional vernacular, or of a Dutch colonial look for this addition renovation. And if you have any questions, I believe that's it.
There's a little bit of asymmetry on the front windows.
Yes.
Is that what's going on inside, I'm thinking?
So I'll show you what's going on inside in a second. So this, right now as it stands today, hold on, you're seeing photographs. Hold on, you're not seeing my drawing here. So the front portico is justified over to the left side of the house here, and you can see that based on the windows here. But what I wanted to do to create balance was to incorporate a heavier element on the right side of the portico here. I think it provides it with the right amount of balance to offset the asymmetry. In terms of the plan, so we have 2 bedrooms flanking the stair. We have a closet. One of those windows in the front will be located in the closet, and the other one over the stair.
Okay.
So the windows on the second floor are centrally located in terms of the shed dormer, but not centered on the front entry.
And you'll probably never really look at that house at front on front like that anyway. So
Correct.
Probably not going to notice it. It'll be more on an angle.
Yeah, but I think it's very well very well thought out to have that balance, even though it's off. The door is not on the center line of the home. I think the way you've laid out the windows and you've balanced that, I think it's excellent.
Thank you.
Last one.
I noticed you said you were taking away the stone. There was no way to leave it like around the garage?
Oh, what happens is because the stone is a veneer, it's not necessarily the foundation. It would project out from the face of the house. So there would be this sort of shelf around the base of the house, which could create some water issues. So we intend on removing that and reusing that stone on the back porch along the base so that it ties in with the other stone elements like the retaining walls in the driveway and also the front patio. Or the
So
front,
you are
the
able
front
to
portico.
repurpose it.
We're going to be repurposing, yes.
Can you show me on the back where that's going to go on the back elevation?
Sure. So it'll be around the base of the patio in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see that here. I mean, we're not going to be able to use all of it, but I'm sure the 4G will find a good use for it.
They will.
Right.
It looks nice, and I think it's going to look nicer than it does now. Even though it is that stone is really beautiful. You'll have moments of it, little pieces of it.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions, anyone?
It looks really good.
Thank you.
I think it looks great. I'd like to make a motion to open up application number 20-42 located at 10 Ridge Street to the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Margaret, anybody there giving it the old I sign?
You're on mute, Margaret.
Margaret, you're on mute.
Yes, I got that. Thank you. No, nobody has raised a hand. So.
Okay, good. So based on that, I would like to make a motion to close application 20-42 at 10 Ridge Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the public hearing on this application is now closed. So, yeah, I think it's really, really nice, beautiful design, very well executed, very well thought out. Looking forward to seeing the finished product, and kudos to you, Louis, for your presentation, for your care in the detailing and the aesthetic and the neighborhood, and I look forward to seeing this and hopefully more of your work in the months to come.
I will be seeing this going up because I live down the street from it.
There you go.
Is there
Very nice.
going to be any addition or change in the HVAC on this project?
There isn't. There is an existing condenser located. Let me go to the site plan quickly. Located just behind the chimney, and we're proposing to maintain that location. With the new condensers, they're more efficient. You can split them more readily. So one should be sufficient for this dwelling.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So any other comments? Anybody else like to say anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So that being the case, I would like to make a motion to move along application number 20-42 located at 10 Ridge Street onto the planning board for their review and consideration. And I don't believe, Margaret, that we really had any sort of major
not
comments.
have any recommendations, so just you're referring it as proposed.
Okay, so all in favor of moving this application
I
on?
second that.
Okay, all right. So that being the case, then Louis, again, congratulations, good work, and we look forward to seeing this as a, certainly Carlos looks forward to seeing it.
I think we need an all in favor.
Yeah, all in favor, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right.
All righty.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful night. Take care.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, Laura, back to you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for attending, and thanks for all your great input. We appreciate it. And I think this is really working out well, especially when we can get corrections on the fly.
Yeah, I like that.
That is a big help when things like that. So I'm all in favor for it. And so I guess that's it for the January 2021 ARB meeting.
Okay, all right.
Okay, good
Take care.
night.
Happy New Year
Good night.
again.
Yeah, thank
Good New
you.
Year.
God bless.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.